Alright, so this is my video. I decided to do Horror Hound memories. It's probably going to be a long video. I don't know if I'm going to edit it. It's kind of my night to upload something, and I haven't yet. So, let's see. Well, as you all know, Horror Hound was awesome. We were all there, and even though it's been, what, 6 weeks? Has it been 6 weeks? That's not possible. Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dear sweet Jesus, it's been 6 weeks since Horror Hound weekend. Let that settle in for a second. Um, it was the best time of my life, and I don't remember ever feeling like that really. It was, I don't know. There was something there for all of us, I believe. It was just nice. And kind of losing my train of thought. So where do I start? I guess I'm going to start. I'm going to go by people. I love you all equally. Some just came first, I guess. I met Sam first, so I'm going to talk about Sam. I feel like there's a connection between Sam and I, even before Horror Hound. It was just a little one, even. I think she sent me her phone number on Twitter, and she would text me, like, little things of her cat, or I would just be like, hey, blah 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 this, and it was really kind of nice, because, like, I didn't really know Sam, and she doesn't have many pictures on Facebook, so when I stalked her, I couldn't, like, I knew what she looked like, but I didn't have, like, a mental picture of what I thought she should look like. So I left work, and I was so antsy that day. Like, I had to work, and we had a lunch audit, and I was just like, what am I doing right now? So I sat there, and I had to wait for Miss Marquez to come back because she had to translate, because our lunch lady doesn't speak a lot of English. So she had to translate to the people, and blah, 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 whatever. And I left, and I came to my apartment, and I got my stuff, and I got to the airport an hour and a half early, I think. But I was just like, I don't want to be late. I gotta find him. I don't know where I'm going. O'Hare, turns out, is actually pretty organized. So I get Starbucks and I chug that, which was a mistake. So I was like twitchy the whole time. I have my signs that I made and spent way too much time on. I'm sitting there waiting where I think Sam's gonna come out. It turns out she didn't come out the place I thought she was going to. So I texted her and I was like, I didn't miss you, did I? And she's like, no, I'm just now getting off the plane. And I was like, oh my god, this is real. This is happening. So we figured out where her luggage claim was going to be. And I walked over there and I saw her and I was like, is that her? I don't remember exactly what she looks like. I hope that's her. And I walk over, I'm like holding my sign. I'm like, is this you? And she's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, how was your flight? And I was like, you're taller in person. Knew we talked about that you were tall, but you're kind of tall. And we just kind of stood there. I think we hugged. I don't remember. We looked for her luggage and we talked. I don't know, it wasn't like bad awkward, but it was like, hey, I'm meeting you for the first time kind of awkward. So then we got our stuff and was like, okay, let's go find Sophie. Alright. So Sam and I stood around waiting for Sophie for 2.5 hours. And this is like a situation that I guess wouldn't be ideal for meeting someone for the first time, just standing around in an airport, hyped up on coffee, trying to figure out where she is. Like, we were both freaking out where Sophie was. And it, like, we were both, like, comfortable enough with each other that we just talked about things, and then it was okay that we were silent for a while. Then we talk about things, and then someone went to the bathroom and watched each other's stuff, and time went by pretty quickly, but like in that anxious, you're not going by fast enough, I want to see Sophie kind of way. But I'm glad that I had Sam there to kind of have a companion to talk to. Through the rest of the weekend, my Sam moments, I guess I'll go from there. sitting on the train, we told Sophie that Mick was coming, and I was like, oh my god, you know that Mick's coming. So we got excited about that, and we came back to my apartment, ordered pizza. She she sent her present for Norman to me, and I had no idea what was in the box. I was like, what's in the box? So she had the box, and I was like, here's your thing, and she just like covered it with her coat. I wanted nothing to do with it. She just covered it with her coat, and Jasper sat on it in true Jasper form. He would love her box, but not her, because he's a jerk. So from there, just Sam sitting in the back of my car on her tablet, taking videos and pictures of things. Every time one of Kath's songs came on our Horror Hound mix, she would just like in the back. It was so adorable, and I was like, oh, this is one of Kath's songs. That was so much fun. Let's see, when we got there, I feel like I'm very protective. I'm like a motherly, like, don't mess with my friends kind of person. And it was nice to have someone else there to kind of back me up. Like, I felt like she was our security guard. Like, if shit was gonna go down, she wasn't gonna let it go down. It was a nice security feeling with Sam like that. Let's see, what else? What else happened? We didn't hang out much in line the first day. And then just hanging out in the room, just like being together, even with everybody, was so nice. I don't know. It was just so wonderful. I'm just thinking about it again. Let's see, my other Sam moments. Alright, that night, yes. We walked Mick back to her hotel room and walked back together. And I had talked to Mick about some guy things, I guess. And I was talking to Sam about it. And it was just really nice to kind of like get it out in the open and to someone else, you know. It's one of those things, like, once you say it, it becomes real, almost. Like, you're in your head so much and, like, it's kind of a fantasy, and then when you actually speak it, it's like it turns into, like, a word bubble, and someone else can read it and know it, and that makes it true. I don't know if that sounds crazy or if everyone else experiences that, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like Norman Reedus kissed my face. And you can think about it and dream about it all you want, but until it happens, or until you say those words, like, it doesn't feel real. So I think that was one of my favorite Sam moments, was being able to just kind of share something with her, and it became more real. And then I think my two favorite Sam moments came on Sunday / Monday. Was when it was me, Sophie, and Nick, and we were just sitting outside waiting for waiting for Sam to be done talking to Norman, and the door opens and Sam's like, come on, you guys. I'm like, what? She's like, come on in. Clark said you guys can come in. And this woman's like, hold on. Who said that they could go in there? Who did you talk to? And Sam's like, I talked to Clark. I talked to Sean. They're okay. And she's like, I'm going to have to go check. So she goes in and talks to whoever and talks to Sean. And she's like, okay, you can go in. Then we go in and, you know, we sat in the back and we waited. And it was just like, in that moment, I was like, Sam, you waited in line for 6-8 hours, however long it was, just so that we could talk to Norman. It was so I could tell my Crane story, and that's like the most selfless thing that anyone could ever do for me. Like, I was in tears almost half the day thinking, like, man, they're not going to hear my story. Like, I did so much to tell them this story, and they're not gonna know how much, like, they've affected me and how much they've led me to where I am. And so it was so huge for me, and I don't know if you realize how big it was. Like, I was in tears half the day, just like standing in line, and just the fact that even if they don't remember it or anything, just being able to give them the cranes that I made and tell them my story, just like, it became real. Like, it was one of those things where it was like I hadn't told anyone my wish, or, you know, like how hard and how much it, like, how hard it was and how much it meant to me. And it was just, now these two people know, and it became real. And that was, I'm never gonna forget that, Samantha. Like, I love you to pieces, and that was just like the biggest gift that you could ever give me. And I love you and appreciate everything that you did, especially that. But my other favorite Samantha moment is the whole car ride home up to Chicago, because she stayed awake with me, except for a couple minutes where she napped and then we spun off the road. Yeah, she was awake and she told me stories and she talked to me, and every time I could feel myself kind of like drifting off, Sam talked to me. And the other girls did too. Sophie and Mick were there and they did well. I made Sophie sleep later because she was just so sad and so tired. And Sam stayed up with me, and I told her I needed to sleep, and we found a parking lot, and she set an alarm, and we slept in a parking lot for 20 minutes. And she was my rock. Like, just in that night, like, I needed her. I knew I couldn't have done it by myself, and I knew that they were depending on me, and it was a big deal for me. And just having someone there to support me helped me feel less alone in the task to get everyone home, you know? It was like my responsibility, because I had the car, and I was like, oh, I'm the one from Chicago, like, I'm the oldest, I have to get all this done, I have to do this. And sharing that responsibility with someone made it so much easier for me to get everything and get everyone home safe and to feel less stressed about everything. I love Samantha because she sends cards with glitter in them. Confetti, whatever you want to call it. And I was so careful this last time, Sam. I promise you I was. I was so careful. Like, I kept the envelope nice, and I had my card laid out so I could smell it, because even if it's not what Rita smells like, it was just like, ah, Sam, touch this. I know, I'm creepy, right? But I picked up the card to put it into the envelope, and something caught, probably that little piece of cardboard that you put on there, and it just went all over my floor. And I was just like, fuck. Sam, really? And I just laughed. I had to laugh. And like, I swept up what I could, but I find glitter all over the place. And those little cacti are around all over the place. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I love it. But yeah, so those are my favorite Sam Horror Hound moments. Oh, there's so much time left. So many people left. Alright, the next person I met was Sophie. And Sophie's just adorable. She's so tiny and beautiful and wonderful. And the first time we were like waiting and watching to see if she would come up, if she would just show up. And we were just like, it's been forever. We gotta see her, we gotta see her, we gotta see her. And all of a sudden Sam was like looking away. I was like, oh my god, it's Sophie! And like, I flailed and I jumped and I was so excited because like we had waited for so long, and she was here. She was actually here. She was safe. She was with us. And like, I hugged her and I was like, ah, I'm not letting you go. So we gather ourselves, and the three of us who we'd never been to a con before. We were all together, and it was the first realization that we were all of us were coming together. Like, we took the train home, and she was just so excited that she was going to meet Mick. One of my favorite Sophie moments over the weekend. Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing that I remember, well, one thing that reminds me of Sophie is the song from the Boondock Saints 2 soundtrack, because she set it as her alarm for the next day. And we woke up, and she just walked into my room, and the song was playing, and we just stood there in feels, and it was fantastic. Now I'm trying to find it on my phone. It's actually my alarm now. You We all know this tune, I'm sure. Um, and this just played, and we stood there, and we hugged and just looked at each other. And this is on my Horror Hound memory mix. And I just listen to it, and I just smile. But we woke up, Sophie woke up to that and brought it in, and the next thing I remember is we're freaking out because John Bernthal tweeted that Flannery was going to be there. Like, oh, I can't wait to see you on Saturday or this weekend or whatever. And we're just like, what? We were texting Kath and Mick, and we were just getting ready to go. And I had to get cash out of the ATM. So I drive. I don't know if this is just like my area or the US in general, but we have drive-up ATMs. Like, you can just drive up, put it in your car, take out your money, whatever. Apparently they don't have this in the UK. You can walk up to an ATM, but they don't have the drive-up ATM. So that was kind of funny, like one of the things that I'm like, oh yeah, you know, you're not from here, things are different. Also being on the opposite side of the car, she said was weird. And I thought about it when we got in, I was like, this is going to be different for you, because you're usually over on this side. And she knew all the songs that were coming up on the mix. So like when something good was going to come up, she would just like watch me. I felt like, I don't know what she actually did, but I felt like she would watch me to wait and see what my reaction would be. It was silent for a while, and then like we would just like, we danced to Lady Gaga's Judas. Even though I was driving, we did the Judas dance, and it was really exciting that we just sat in the front of the car dancing together. We also quoted Pitch Perfect and all those silly quotes, and just went back and forth for like 5 minutes, like just sporadically, here at the apartment and over the weekend, and it was hilarious. And that movie reminds me of her now. Just like every little, like, I could believe it, or excuse me, just, I don't know, little things like that. It just makes me so happy. I really enjoyed when she gave Clark his award, because I was standing behind her and I got the pictures and I got to see their interactions, and I wasn't distracted by anything else. And it was just great to see that interaction with them, and just like how excited he was, and how, like, I don't know if you felt it, but you gave it to him with confidence, and that just like, that built me up. I was like, I can do this. Like, Sophie is so nervous, she's giving Sean Clark a freaking award. Like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It was so fantastic. Other favorite Sophie moments included getting our tattoos together, because I was like, I've had 3 tattoos before, but I was nervous about it because I haven't had one 3 or 4 years now. And this one's kind of like, you know, it's kind of a you can show it all the time kind of place. I love it, and I know I'm always gonna love it. But Mike was really nice, the tattoo guy, and we talked about The Walking Dead, and it was just nice to kind of like, Sophie and I had a moment, you know, like, we were all together this weekend, and we all did stuff together at separate times, and everything went really well, but this was like our moment, like, this is our thing that we did, like, we got our tattoos together. And even when I'm old, and this is probably wrinkled and gross, who knows, I'm gonna remember Sophie, even if, you know, years and years and years and years pass and we only talk every once in a while, or it's just Horror Hound's a faded memory in my mind when I'm old and on my deathbed. I'm gonna remember that, because it's like, it was such a big deal to me, and to share that moment with her was fantastic. My other favorite and probably saddest moment, I don't know if it's considered a favorite, but something that kind of sticks with me, was when we had to say goodbye. Because I cried so much at Horror Hound when we had to say goodbye to everyone. I was the first one to break. I'll admit it. I started sobbing, and Catherine, like that. Like, I couldn't help it. And it was so hard, and we were so tired at the airport. And I just hugged her, and I didn't want to let her go. And we stood there and watched her go through the line the whole way. I don't know if you know that, Sophie. We stood there the whole time until we saw you, and you were a tiny little ant in the distance, and we couldn't see you anymore. We stood there. And I was just like, I don't know when I'm gonna see her again, but it will be one of the happiest days of my life because I know I miss you. I miss you, all of you, and I just know it's gonna be okay when, because I know I'm gonna see you one of these days again. And you're the furthest and the most expensive to get to, but I will come see you. I promise you that. Even if it's 5, 10 years from now, I'm gonna come see you, and we're gonna spend time together, and it's gonna be magical. Um, I love your accent. I know it's kind of ridiculous, but it's just like you have your own accent of your accent. Like someone else could speak British to me, or speak with a British accent, speak British, and it wouldn't be the same. Like, I don't know, just like how you say things. Um, oh, our conversation about the loo. I was like, I'm gonna use the bathroom, and I was like, hold on, before I do that. And then I asked you if you guys called it the loo, and we figured out that it's more like if I'm like, I'm gonna go use the John instead of the bathroom. It's kind of like a slang term, which I will always remember, by the way. I don't know. I just, I don't know. You kind of gave just like a calming feeling the whole time we were together. Like, I knew we would be okay if we were together. Like I wasn't worried about anything. And that's good. I need that in my life. Just like feeling like everything, it's gonna be okay. Even if things are shitty, they're gonna be okay. And when you and I were together, I felt like that. Like I was taken down a notch, and it was nice. Anyway, I love you, and I'm gonna move on to the next person that I met, who was Michaela, who I knew was coming before everybody else did. And we picked her up from the bus stop. We got turned around, and she was sitting there by herself for a long time. And I opened the door, and all of a sudden I'm attacked by a 5'8" woman with long hair and gangly legs. And it was awesome. Like, I just hugged her and I didn't want to let her go. And then Sam and Sophie ran, and we all hugged, and then we went and got her stuff, and we crammed all four of us and all of our stuff into my car, which I don't know how we managed to do that. We were texting Kath and Emmy, and we saw the Crown Plaza, and we freaked out. We're like, oh my god, you're right here! You're here! I feel like Mick and I spent the most time together outside of the group, because we went for drinks where we were hoping to run into Clark and or Regis. We hung out, we got drinks, we talked, and we ran to Lou Temple. And I never would have gotten up to go ask him for a picture if Mick wasn't like, hey, let's go. Why not? So we go and we walk up and we stand around with the group that's around with him. And this guy's like, hey, me next. And Lou kind of looks at us. He's like, pretty ladies first. So he like pulls Mick in, and she grabs me, and we get pulled into him, and like he gets situated with his drinks. We get our picture. Some drunk woman takes it. I'm surprised it came out clear. And he's like, now with mustaches! And the woman didn't take my camera back, so someone else took the picture. We had our mustaches. And then he was just like super sweet, and he talked to everyone else, and that was great. What else happened with Nick? We stood in line together to meet Regis for the first time, and I knew the secret, and I was just like, ah! You've talked to him so much more than me. You've been to more cons than me. Like, I'm so nervous. And she's like, no, don't worry about it. So we go in line, and we get up there, and he comes up, and I'll talk about Norman later. And then Mick comes up, and he's like, hey, babe, what's going on? And he's like talking to her, and she did like the most awesome best friend thing. She's like, but this is Whitney. You should talk to Whitney. This is Whitney here. She has stuff for you. You should talk to Whitney. And then he put his focus back on me, but he was really excited to see her, and I was just like, this is genuine. Like, he really, like, he wants to talk to her. He wants to see her. He misses her. Like, it's a real thing. Like, you know, he's talked to her before and like he remembered her, and it was just like it was awesome. But it was the best thing that she did. Like, she didn't take it in. She's like, no, this is Whitney. She wants to meet you too. Like, she's awesome. Talk to her. This is Whitney. And I was, oh, it was beautiful because you could have just taken that moment and you could have been like, yeah, hey Norman, what's up? You know, you could have done that, but you forced, not forced him, but you're like, she wants to meet you too. She's here for you too. And it's just like, you're such a wonderful person for doing that. Like, you, that could have gone so many different ways, and that just like, that warmed my heart that you did that, you know? And I appreciate it because it was rough being there for the first time, but it was nice being there with someone that would do that for me. I know you all would have too. I know you all would have. But it was a good experience. That was a good first meeting, first experience. And then let's see. We went and bought drinks together for everyone, and I have a horrible short-term memory for things like that. Um, Unless I study something over and over, I kind of just like forget it. Like, I'm not even good at, you know, memorizing like a 6-digit number at work for a SKU for an item. Like, not good at all. So we go downstairs and Mick just rambles off all the drinks, and she's like, oh, we don't have that. So then, like, she knew the substitutions and the stuff that you guys wanted otherwise, and so on and so forth. Um, I loved when she was confident enough to walk around in her pink bikini, because we had talked before and she was nervous about different things, and I was like, girlfriend, you're beautiful, you are confident in yourself, and you just need to do what you're gonna do. And just her just being her and just radiating this confidence, and like even sitting there like talking to these awkward guys, like she was just like, this is me, I'm Mick, this is who I am, I love me and how I am. And I love that, and I love that whole time. And I was like, I could have been like super jealous, like, man, why can't I look like that? Why can't I be wearing a bikini? This, that, and everything. But it's just like, all of our friendship is like, it's on such a different level, and I just really enjoyed that. I love that I can be happy for her and her confidence, and, you know, like being able to sit there like she was and just being herself. Just like, I'm happy that I can be happy for her, you know. I think though, throughout the whole weekend, my favorite moment with Mick was coming back into the city from the airport. We got chicken fingers and potato wedges, and we came back to my apartment and we ate food and watched that episode of The Walking Dead together. And I've never watched I've watched The Walking Dead with people before, but not like a new episode. Like, it was old episodes with people. Like, I've always watched it by myself. Even if I was home, I missed it. Like, I didn't watch it with my mom or dad. And so I think I really do think it was my first experience watching The Walking Dead with somebody. And it's like, it's been such a big part of my life. Like, I think I was just like really excited to share it with somebody. And it was the episode where Merle died, of course. And we sobbed and sobbed and sobbed into each other, and we were so sad, and she just held me. She just held me, and I haven't had someone hold me when I was sobbing during The Walking Dead. And it was beautiful for me. Like, it meant a lot. And then we napped. I think I napped, gosh, 4 or 5 hours? I guess it's not a nap, but, and then I took her to the train, and I don't know why the goodbyes are some of my favorite things. I walked through the line for the train with her, and I gave her some cash so that she could get food, because I didn't think that they would take card on the train. And I hugged her, and I watched her go through the train gate, and as far as I could, I watched her until she got to as far as I could see her, and then I left. And It was such a sad moment being there by myself after being with all of you, and then like I dropped what was it, 3 of the 5 of you. I dropped you off, like I took you where you needed to go, like I got you home. And that's a big deal for me. Like, I was responsible for people besides myself and not little children. Like, I don't know, it has this weird kind of feeling to it. I don't know if I can describe it very well. It's just like, it's just a feeling that I have being that person that got you home. You know, so many good times. Ah, gosh, it's hard to move on. I don't know what a good stopping point is. We met Kath and Emily next, but I think I hugged Catherine first because I think it took Emmy a minute to notice that we were there. Alright, so Catherine. Catherine's one of my favorite people, but I think I was most nervous about meeting Catherine. She was always so confident in chat, I feel like. And I loved her blog before I knew who she was. Kind of awkward. I don't know, it's just, there's just something about her where she's just like, she's so self-assured, it seems like. Like, you could say a fact wrong and she'd be like, no, it's this, but that's okay. And it's just like, oh yeah, it is okay. Thanks for telling me the right answer. I guess humble is the word I'm looking for. She's very humble. And even though I was kind of intimidated, like I felt comfortable right away. And I loved that. I was just like, oh, I love you. I just met you and I love you. I guess I'm like Doug from Up. Just automatically, just like for all of you. It was just like, this is love. Catherine moments. Oh goodness. Let's see. When we first met, your ukulele. We went back to the room to get it the night of the pool party. I totally forgot about this until right now. We went to go get your ukulele, and you were doing something in the bathroom, and I was like, man, I would never know how to play one of these things. And you're like, let me show you. And you came over, and I don't even know what it was or what I played. But you had me like put my fingers a certain way and I strummed, and then another one, and then another one. I think it was 3 chords. And you had me keep doing it, and you're like, there you go, you just played a song. I was like, my mind is blown. But I love that moment because it's like, no one's ever just been like, oh, let me show you. Let me teach you how to do this thing. And it's just like, that ukulele is so much part of you that it was nice that you were just so ready to share it with me, ready to share your ukulele and your talent and everything with me. Like that was a big deal. I can't believe I forgot about that until now. What other moments? When I didn't have my ticket, I printed out 2 of the Norman Reedus photo ops instead of my actual ticket. You waited for me. I was freaking out, and I feel like everyone was so excited, like no one heard me talking. And I was just like, guys, my ticket. I don't know where it is, guys. And I was listening. I'm like, Catherine! And she's like, hold up, what's going on? You were right there ready to help me. And you weren't like gonna leave me behind to go get into the con faster. Like you were like, okay, she called my name. She really does need me. That was nice. It was nice not to feel alone in that moment because I was like, I'm the idiot that forgot to print my ticket even though I said that I had it. That was a good moment. What other times? All the pictures you took of me meeting Rooker was beautiful, and you showing them to me, being like, hey, look, this happened. Look at what you did. Look at that. Standing in line to meet Chandler was fun. It was me, you, and Sam, right? Yes. That was nice because it was the 3 of us, and you and I talked to some other people around us about the people calling the actors by the character name and yada yada, and we saw the Doppeldaryl or whatever you want to call him. He looked just like him. I don't know, it was like it was coming to the end of Horror Hound, and it was like everything was seemed to be calming down, and it was nice just to kind of like be there, you know, just kind of in line hanging out, not worried about everything else going on, like we were where we needed to be. Um, that was nice. It was just peaceful. And I feel like as much as I love the weekend, there wasn't a lot of like peaceful moments. Like I feel like something was always going on. Unless we were in the hotel room and then like that was just peaceful. You know, unless we were getting ready in the morning, but just like hanging out, like that was so peaceful. I love your hugs. I do. I could hug you forever. I would hug you a million times a day if I could. I think that's why I started crying when we had to say goodbye, because I was holding on to you and I was like, I'm gonna miss these. Like, I've had so many of these this weekend, and it's just like, I'm gonna miss them. They're gonna be so far away from me. Them being your hugs and you. um, so that was hard. That was so hard. And you give the best hugs. Like, they're not those wimpy, like, oh, hugs. Like, you, like, held me. You held on to me, and that was the best. Like, I needed that. Like, I feel like I needed to cry, too. Otherwise, it wasn't going to be healthy. um, so I miss your hugs, and that moment where I cried. Like, my favorite moments is our goodbyes. I really like that. Like, it's hard to say goodbye, and I really needed that hug, and for you just to hold me while I cried. Like, I just needed that, and you held on to me until I was ready to let go, and I appreciate that so much. It's hard to explain, because I feel like not many people in my life besides my mom, like, would let me hug them until I was done hugging them, you know, like, it was always kind of like on their terms. So that's much appreciated. I hated saying goodbye. It wasn't exactly Horror Hound, but your song, I play it all the time. Obviously, in my last video, you heard me singing it. um, Everything was just perfect about it. And I was so happy to sit there and chat while you were recording it and just watched you sing. And I was just, it was beautiful. And I hope one day that you can explain all the lyrics. I can understand the gist of them, but like, I would like to know like what you were thinking when you were writing it, because that would just be interesting to me. I'm excited to come infiltrate your life in 4 months. 4 months. Hopefully my road trip goes as planned, and then I'll be home mid to late September then, actually. And then I can come and hang out with you all the time and make everyone else jealous, and we'll do videos every day, like you said that we had to if we're together. So we can do that. And I'm excited to be with you. I'd be excited to be with any of you, but it's just, I'm going to spend time with Kath, and it's going to be amazing, and she's going to get sick of me because I'm going to create my own little living space in her closet, in her dorm. Totally going to do that. Yeah. So, I listen to your music all the time. I have your EP and your CD. Is it an EP? Your CD with your songs on it. I put Boom and Until We Meet Again on there, tacked on the end. I also put Dreams. That's the Sam moment that I forgot to mention. I loved that Sam danced with Rita's because she didn't get to see him. And I was like, hey, can you get a picture with her? Because she waited in line, and he's like, yeah. He came around the table, and he hugged her, and they just started like swaying back and forth, and none of us could get our cameras up before he was like turning around and ready for a picture. That was my Sam moment that needs to be 40 some minutes ago. But yeah, I put that on the CD too, so I have that Dreams and then all of your songs, and I listen to it when I go to work, and it's the right amount of time. I listen to it on the way back from work, and it's just the right amount of time to get from beginning to end, and I love it. and I sing with you in the shower and everything. Like I can't. It's beautiful, and you're wonderful and fantastic, and I love you. Goodness. I'm gonna edit this down, hopefully, if I can figure out the editing software. And I'm at 47 minutes right now. I was gonna go to bed early tonight, but I guess not. Who's next? There's Emily. My dear sweet Emily. Emily. Had her jacket with the pins on it, and I loved it. What memories do I have with Emily? Horrible ones. Just kidding. I love you. Let's see. There was. What was there? Going through the day in my head, trying to figure out. Her search and find. That she handed out to everyone. And how she just talked to everyone in line, which was wonderful. Every day I just saw her talking to people and chatting it up and being so kind and Canadian and being so nice to everyone and being like, oh yeah, here's a search and find. Oh yeah, this is the present I made for them. Oh yeah, I'm awesome. Look at me, I'm great. And you're so awesome, even though I just met you because I'm so kind. That's Emily, by the way. No, it was the search and find the first thing I really remember, because my favorite part was Rick's sanity was on there. That was fun. You're so artistic, and I love it, and it's you are your art. I can tell that it's you, like you're part of your art, and that's really nice because I feel like sometimes people lose that. The sock monkey giving it to Ricker. I remember that because he almost put it away without squeezing the boob. And he just loved you, and he hugged you every time he saw you and grabbed your waist, and you know, he just loved you. And even though that's not a memory like with me and you, like just witnessing that and seeing that was fantastic. Like I don't know what it was. It was just like seeing you interact with him. He was just so easygoing, and just like you guys had known each other for years almost is what it seemed like. And that was great to see, like every time you saw him. I don't know, like you're just so kind and welcoming. Like I felt that too when I met you, just like I felt welcomed. Like I don't know. Like you just took me in and you're like, "Oh, here we go. This is where you belong." And I'm like, "Okay, I believe you." I enjoyed not sober Emily. She was quite funny. I just remember this too. We awkwardly gave each other massages for a couple minutes. And you were like, "Hey, you should be a lesbian." I was like, "Hey, maybe one day." Oh, that happened. That was fun. Just our interactions, because I was a little bit gone. After your pie shot, though, you were like out of there. The pancake, not the pie shot, the apple, not the apple. Pancake shot. It was fun when we took you back to the room. Just hearing you talk about your dream with Rooker. You were so set on it. You told me 3 or 4 times, and that made me happy. Just because it's like, I don't know. Like I feel like you would come up with that story even if you weren't inebriated. That would be a story that you would be like, "Oh, what if this happened?" And it would be one that I would be like, "That's a fantastic story." And it was a fantastic story. I loved your Maggie costume. You were such a great Maggie. And I'm glad that you got to meet Brittany and hang out with her. I thought that was great. That was great of you. just going off and hanging out with other people and meeting other people. Not that we didn't do that, but it was like you were set on it and you were happy to do it. And I really like that. Like, you're just so friendly and so kind to everyone. And I know it sounds kind of generic, but it's just like that's hard to find. Someone that like truly cares about the people that they meet and the people that are in their lives that much. Like people you had never met before, just like you cared so much. I don't know. I guess we didn't get to hang out as much as I would have liked over the weekends. But I feel like I didn't get gypped out of time. Standing in line to meet Bernthal. That was fun. We got to talk to that woman in front of us, and he loved your toys that you got for his dogs. It was a lot of fun. That was one of my favorite moments. Talking to that woman about the Polaroids. That's how they got nudies back in the day. Because if you went to develop your film, they wouldn't give you the nude pictures. They wouldn't develop those. So you would have a Polaroid camera at home to have your nudies. That was a lot of fun. We got to talk to her for a while. I liked her. I love you, and I miss you. I do. And I'm going to come visit you, and I'm going to make a sock monkey for you. That's right, Emily's going to show me how to make a sock monkey. And she's going to make one for me, and I'm going to make one for her. And we're going to trade. And it's going to be wonderful. And all the time we spend together is going to be great. And I can't wait for that. And you're working on my tattoo, which is fantastic of you. And I hope I'm not too like, that's not what I want. Because I'm very picky about my tattoos, but I can't art like you can art. So I'm hoping that that turns out well so I can get that soon. I'm excited about your tattoo too. It's so beautiful and it's going to be great, and I really like the artist from what you've told me. I like her a lot, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to hurt a lot, I'm sure, but it'll be worth all the pain, right? Yeah. I love you, and I can't wait to hug you and do art things with you and share days with you and get to meet Harpo, which will be an exciting moment in my life. So, that's all you girls. I didn't miss anyone, right? I'm at 55 minutes right now. Let's see. Who else? Maybe these stories can be shorter. Alright, I don't know. I'm gonna save my Sean, Norman, John, Rooker, Lou, all of those moments for another video. I've talked a lot, and I know you guys said you can see my face for as long as I put it on the screen, because I'm beautiful. But I do need to go to bed eventually, and I need to edit this video and get it uploaded. I will save all that for another time. If you guys want to talk about it, that's fine. I still have to catch up on videos from last week, and I honestly probably won't be able to do that until Thursday. I should have watched it over the weekend when I had some free time, but I was too busy gifting. Gifting is wrong. I don't care what people say, it's gifting, right? Yeah. So maybe I'll watch one and try to catch up. Watch a few, wake up early maybe and watch some. I feel bad that I haven't watched them. Life just gets in the way. Working 65 hours last week was killer. I took Sunday off. And then of course I get to work. I'm going to work next Sunday, so I have another set of 2 weeks without a day off. So that'll be fun. You girls will get me through it though. You always do. I just wish I could get on chat more when I'm at work. I jump in where I can, but I wish I could just sit there and talk to you guys. I feel like I miss out on a lot, but then I don't feel like I miss out on anything. It's one of those I wish I could be there when they're talking about it kind of moments. So So yeah, I love all of you. Feel free to text me or call me or message me or anything. I'm happy to be bothered, especially by you guys. If I get really tired on the way home from work, or if I feel like I'm tired, I may be calling some of you in the States, meaning Kath and Nick and Sam. I'll text you and ask first, but if you would like, just let me know and I can call and we can talk for like a half hour, which is about the length of my drive home, just to make sure I get home. Sometimes cold air and music just doesn't keep me as awake as I need it to. And every time I get sleepy when I drive, I just have horror Hound flashbacks where I'm like trying to stay awake because I've been awake. By the end of it, I was awake for 36 hours straight, minus the 20-minute nap in the Denny's parking lot. So yeah. I don't want the video to end because that means that I'm not talking to you at the moment anymore and my face will be gone and you guys can just watch the video over again. But it's that weird, like, you're getting off the phone but you don't want to get off the phone kind of thing. But I probably should. And this is me being my mom, rambling and keeping you on the phone or in the conversation. Yeah, I love all of you, and I hope that you're all doing okay. I know some of us are in shitty spots in our lives, but I love you, and I keep saying it, but I do. And I'm here for you, each and every single one of you. If you need me, just let me know, and I'll listen, and I'll talk, or I'll video, or make you laugh, or whatever I need to do. And I will talk to you all soon, okay? I love you.